Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out Entitled Parents. Story 1. M freaks out. I engaged her nonverbal son. Older lady stopped at our shop because her motor started ticking all of a sudden. Wasn't buying that, since the ticking is the ticking sound of a spectacular engine death coming soon. She was busy with the techs, and in the waiting room was her teenage kid just staring at the Rubik's Cube on the counter. So when I finished cashing out a vendor, I went to the office, grabbed the cube and handed it to him. His eyes lit up and he started playing with it. He said thank you and signed, so I signed back, you're welcome. I only know basic sign, working on ASL. That's when the mom noticed. She thought I was talking to her kid. I get the whole special needs thing. I have a brother that's special needs, but I don't believe in socially isolating them from engaging with normal people. When I stepped back out into the shop, she got in my face telling me her kid is deaf and that I wasted time talking to him in the first place. I explained to her that I knew some sign language and all I did was say you're welcome to him when he thanked me for the toy. She didn't see me sign to her son, so she missed all of that and backed down when she went into the office and asked her son what I said. They ended up leaving after finding out there's nothing we could do to save the engine. We let him keep the Rubik's Cube. I honestly don't think he's ever seen one. Story 2. What makes people with small children so entitled? I'm spending time on a Sunday in a beautiful aquarium. I bought a ticket in advance. I arrived at opening to bypass some crowds, and I was very much looking forward to 1 to 2 hours wandering around looking at everything. So far, this venue has staggered entry. During my slot, I walked up and took a place in the queue. A family with 3 children ran up, filtered around me and began speaking literally over my head. I was crowded in and ended up backing out, so they got my place in line. I keep being banged by strollers. To be fair, it's dimly lit inside, but I feel like when you've hit someone, you could pause for a moment and say sorry. In the cafe, a lady let go of a stroller so loaded it immediately toppled into me, and so I spilled coffee everywhere. I was so conscious not to get hot liquid on her child, she didn't even pause to check if I was alright, or offer to buy me a replacement. One child is in the corner drumming their fists along the glass. That's not okay. If they have difficulties, I respect. Not all behavior is predictable or preventable, but they're stressing out the animals. If they can't be brought around, they need to be away from glass. It's a Sunday, so it's super busy. There's people in the gift shop having their infant children read aloud all the ice cream flavors and count out the money coin by coin, whilst loudly saying, "Oh, I'm sure no one minds, it's so cute." I mind. The final straw, which drove me to make this post, is when a family encouraged their young knee-height children to push through the throngs of people around the glass, and the mother said, "This is a venue for children, I don't even know why those other people are here. We're at one of the top-rated aquariums in the world, I feel like everyone has a right to be here. You chose to have children. It doesn't make you magically more important than everyone else." Story 3. Seal scares EK. Little funny story from last summer I just remembered. I, M17, at the time was working my first job at a small marina where I basically just cleaned up and maintained some of the boats for extra money while their owners were away. Anyway, this marina had everything from little 10-foot boats to a couple of 70-plus foot boats, mega yachts or whatever. If you aren't familiar with the layout of a marina, there's basically branches, called docks, that connect to a main walkway. Each dock with a certain amount of slips, parking spaces, for boats. At my marina there were 5 docks, each around 60 feet apart. The bigger boats, the main part of the story, were all berthed on dock 1, closest to the end of the marina where they could easily move. The last thing you need to know is that the seals that inhabit the bay really love to jump onto the docks to sunbathe, and they love hanging out around the marinas in general. Also, the seals are so desensitized to humans they don't care about us at all. Now to the actual story. At my time at the marina I was able to meet a good amount of the boat owners, as a good amount of them were liveaboards. This lovely old man lived by himself aboard a beauty of a yacht on dock 1. Always gave me the best advice and even paid me to keep his boat maintained by cycling the engines on, cleaning the deck etc. while he was away. Always done after my shifts. One day while I was bored I was sitting at the end of dock 2 when I noticed a mother and a daughter that I'd never seen before. Which on the surface wasn't too weird because there were party boats and many owners I hadn't met yet, plus the marina required a key to enter. The mom was walking while the child who couldn't be older than like 5 was running down a floating dock with no railings or safety of any kind. The kid was running around touching all of the yachts on dock 1, like physically touching all of the boats with her probably dirty hands. At this point I was up and walking back down dock 2 to see who they were. Thinking back on it I probably should have yelled from dock 2, but 2 was around 70 feet from 1 and I'm a very quiet person. I kept looking back as I walked to make sure they weren't doing anything stupid but stopped as the kid jumped onto the lovely old man's boat but thankfully jumped back off almost as quickly as she jumped on. The mom didn't seem to care about the kid touching boats that cost tens of millions of dollars. Especially since it's a boat, and boats tend to bob back and forth. If the kid fell into the water between the boat and the dock it could have been seriously bad. At this point I started to speed walk over and was just getting onto dock 1 when I heard a scream. I looked up and there was a decently chunky seal sitting on the dock maybe 10 feet away from the now screaming and crying child. I kept walking towards them as the mom stomped on the dock, I guess to try and scare it away? Obviously didn't work. At this point several people had walked out onto their boat decks to see what was happening. So Em scooped up her child kicking and screaming towards me while I tried my best to not laugh when we had a conversation that sounded something vaguely like, "Em, what are you looking at?" "Me, could you please keep your child supervised next time?" Em, grunts. Never saw her or her kid again but I asked around. Dockmaster told Em's brother apologized for the kid's actions a couple days later. When I saw the old man next week he laughed about what happened and gave me a 20. I quit working there in the middle of fall when I realized that my workload for senior year of high school was too much. I kept in contact with the old man and he's invited me to dinner at his favorite fish and chips place several times. Anyway that's it, thanks for reading. TLDR, EK gets scared by seal after jumping on and touching multiple $1 million boats. Story 4. Entitled Father Thinks He Can Control the Music My Sisters Listen to. My dad, 42M, is extremely religious and is very strict when it comes to following the Bible. I am personally not religious and have told him so straight up, but he is a Christian who believes it is his God-given duty to teach his children about the Word of God so they can inherit his kingdom, etc. etc. He follows the Bible to a T and expects his children to honor it as well. This includes monitoring what my sisters wear so they can be modest Christian women, controlling their relationships so they don't try to have premarital sex, and now, it has gone as far as what music they listen to. All our lives, we were only allowed to listen to gospel growing up. Whenever we were hosting a family function at our home or just having music play while cleaning our house, it was always gospel. He believes any other genre, regardless of what it is devilish and satanic. I'm serious. However, me and my sisters don't gaf and listen to whatever we want with our AirPods/headphones and when we're in our cars. One of my sisters, F17, was listening to her music with her AirPods and today Dad questioned her about what she was listening to. When she told him, he told her he doesn't want her listening to that stuff and that she needs Jesus. She sent me a screenshot of a text he sent her saying the same thing about an hour or so after the verbal incident. It's fucking ridiculous. I don't care about his beliefs or the fact that he is our father, he doesn't have the right to tell her she can't listen to anything other than gospel. Like it boggles my mind that he thinks he can control that. The nerve of some religious folk is absolutely insane. TLDR, my dad is trying to make my sisters only listen to gospel and gets upset when they listen to other genres. Story 5. Mom wants me to change my decorations for her kids. Hi everyone, I just want to give some context. I'm a high school student who goes on the school bus every morning. Last year we had a bus driver who we all loved, but she got moved. Our new driver is something. After Halloween, I chose the Monday after Halloween, the day I would put up my Christmas inflatables. They are mine, so I'm responsible for putting them up and taking them down. No big deal. The Thursday after Halloween, my bus driver stops me asking if I can put my decorations up, and says she heard about them from another driver. My father had some yard work he still wanted to do, so I told her not yet, and that I would soon. She seemed mad, and she told her kids, the mean girl won't put up her decorations. I am a trans male, him, and she knows this, and then turned to me and said, look how sad my kids are. I ignored her. After I put them up on that Monday, I got on the bus in the morning. My driver said thank you for putting the decor up for my kids. They love it. I looked at her and told her I didn't do it for her kids. She got angry again. I had 2 more inflatables I put up last week, one I had just got recently. She told me when I got on the morning after, can you please take down the gnome? My kids don't like it. Maybe replace it with a penguin. They like penguins. I told her in a respectful tone I was not taking it down, and that I didn't have a penguin. She told me to buy one. I said, unless I'm gifted one, I'm not buying any more inflatables this year. She got so mad at me. She told me I'm so rude and that her kids didn't like my gnome, so I should accommodate them. I'm not bending over backwards for her shitty kids, who laugh at me and scream and cry all through the bus rides when they don't get what they want. Edit, this blew up. Hi everyone. Yes, I am considering investing in another gnome. Thank you for all your advice. Update, this morning is my last day of school before Thanksgiving break, because the American school system sucks, and I was going to turn my inflatables on this morning. Unfortunately it got windy, so I had to turn them off because I don't want to damage them. I have another inflatable gnome on the way, even though I wasn't supposed to buy any more this year. It's a small gnome. I have a bigger one I want, but unfortunately they're kinda expensive. I'm seeing some people say this is fake, and I wish. I heard from the kids on her old route she was a real bitch to them, and one of her kids actually slapped one of the middle schoolers, and she blamed the middle schooler, who wasn't even interacting with her kids. I asked her about her old route before this incident. I genuinely wish this didn't happen, but it did. People had have problems with my decor before, but never to this level. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.